Hi guys, welcome to the workshop again. Today I want to discuss another quite controversial topic, which is a thing that I have been thinking about in the last 2 years of my riding basically, and that is clinchers versus tubulars. What kind of tire or wheel and tire system is the best for road riding and high performance applications? So for most of my time I rode tubular tires and tubular wheels. I think I replaced 4 sets of tubular wheel sets in the last year to test out a couple, and this year I switched to clincher tires, so I have now roughly quite a good amount of experience in this topic. And to keep the comparison fair and interesting, I use the same kind of tires in both, on both my tubular wheels, which was the Vittoria Corsa G Plus tubular, which is the #1 market leader when it comes to tubular tires, because no other manufacturer does pro level latex tubed race tubulars at the moment, I think. So that was my choice. Really excellent tire. And in the clincher tires I use the open equivalent, which has basically the same carcass. The only difference is of course that you get a Kevlar bead on there to hold the tire to the rim, and I pair that with Vittoria's own latex tubes, which are super light but still quite sturdy, and that's the same thing they use in their tubulars. So all other aspects are basically the same. And here's what I found out. My main problem with tubular wheels is that you get a lot of hassle if you want to live with them, and you don't seem to get any performance advantages. You see, I chose to ride tubular wheels because I've been told that they're the best, they're used by the pros and whatever, so they must be better for sure. Yeah, but if you look at the tests, the rolling resistance of a clincher tire, a high-end clincher tire, is always going to be better, that means lower, than the equivalent tubular. And that's the same case with my Vittoria combo here. If you check at bicyclerollingresistance.com, and you can see that the tubular tire costs you roughly 1 watt, 1 to 2 watts compared to the clincher equivalent. So speed and rolling resistance is not a good point, and not really a reason to use tubular tires. I was also tricked by the fact that a lot of boutique manufacturers like this one, Dash or X Lightness from my previous videos, Black INC, they also all make really nice quality, super light carbon wheels. But as I found out, these don't really necessarily mean a lot of speed, because a heavier, sturdier wheel set, like the Zip one, is always going to last you longer. And I've also found out that aerodynamics makes a huge improvement in speed, while weight doesn't really. I thought that my X Lightness was the ultimate compromise of weight, well, not really a compromise, but the ultimate combination of low weight and good aerodynamics, but that will turn out to be quite a gimmick really, because it has very poor braking, and even though I'm just a 60 kilo rider, the rear wheel kept coming loose and I had lots of brake rubs. So yeah, that boutique wheel manufacturers not really recommended. Use something trusted, even a bit heavier, sturdier, like the Zip for example. So that was my main point of interaction. I tried to combine speed and aerodynamics with low weight, so that didn't really turn out as well as I wanted to. And the second thing is of course the labor that comes with the tubulars. And if you have lots of wheel sets, not really a problem, because well, you just prepare one for gluing and you use another one instead, which was my case, but still, ironically, now I'm stuck with basically my 303 tubular wheel set, which I need to use for training and racing until my new wheel set arrives, or wheel sets arrive, I don't know yet, because availability is quite poor lately. But anyway, if you want to train every day, then you will really struggle with tubulars, because if you get a puncture, you're out for at least a day. If you want to reglue it properly, you have to spend hours cleaning the rim afterwards, because if you don't clean the residual glue, your tire is going to be wonky. By the way, I've changed quite a lot of tubular wheels, tubular tires, and there's basically no real possibility of getting it perfectly straight, which a clincher will always do, is line perfectly on the circumference of the rim, which is excellent for tire stability, but more important, even perhaps for aerodynamics. And the fact that you get a smooth transition, which Zip have been saying for a long time now, makes them, I think, aerodynamically a lot faster. Because if you imagine a tubular tire you're putting on, or basically a round object into the rim well, and even though most modern rims have pretty wide and deep rim beds, they still make quite a big indentation in there, so that's not the spec. That's an idea. So, to sum it up so far, rolling resistance, clinchers win on there, then speed and aerodynamics, again around for clinchers, convenience of course goes to clinchers. Then if you go to comfort, handling and grip, road feel maybe, well, all these aspects, as I've mentioned, I've used the same kind of tires in both setups, so they're identical in their construction, rubber compound, carcass and so on, and that shows exactly in the ride itself, because it's identical. Well, it's just impossible to tell if you're not looking at your wheels, if you're riding a tubular or a clincher of the same construction. So again, the fabled tubular ride is now available with high quality clinchers. Same goes for the grip in corners and predictability, I guess. So yeah, that's another moot point. That's another loss for the tubulars. So I can't really find a good reason to run them, but let's just go further. If you look at the price of the wheel sets, then yeah, a clincher wheel is always going to be more expensive because it's more difficult to make. Well, at least if you're looking at a renowned manufacturer, Zip, Emery and so on. But clincher technology, thanks to this, has progressed quite far, and now we got safe, if not ideal, braking and carbon surfaces. So yeah, a clincher wheel is always going to be heavier, more expensive than a tubular one. So if you're on a budget and you want to use your tubular wheels only for racing, then that might be a good option. What's a nice thing about tubulars is that if you get a puncture, you can still ride them. In fact, I only got 2 punctures during my last 2 years basically, but in both occasions I managed to ride this home. So yeah, you can't repair them as such. If you have them properly glued on, there's no way you can change them by the side of the road, but you can at least ride them home, if quite slowly. So that's a good thing. So yeah, we've addressed weight and price, complexity. So what else? One thing that tubulars really excel in is a safety, because if you're on a high speed alpine descent at race speed, then you're putting a lot of heat onto the brake track, and in the clincher wheel you need both the very thin clincher beads to be able to absorb that. Luckily most modern wheels, and again I mentioned this earlier, but trusted manufacturers with lots of experience, they do that pretty well, I think. Probably not for ground tour level, descending and riding, but few of us actually go there, and those who do not need to worry about things like doing tubulars. So safety is a good example. Same for the, as I said, punctures. If you get a puncture on a clincher, it's quite hard to stay upright, while as on a tubular you're still quite good to go, as the glue is holding on pretty tight. But then again, if you puncture a high quality tubular, it's going to be really, really expensive. While even the most expensive latex tube is going to be at least 3 or 4 times cheaper. So that's another good point for the clinchers. And since I have done a lot of races this year, or well, relatively, to myself, and I have also found the need to be able to adjust my tire choice according to the course, because there was a huge variety, to be honest, from super smooth racetracks to really poor roads. So yeah, so the ability to make real quick tire changes and put on different tires is another great feature of the clinchers, which I've come to really enjoy, because you can, depending on the course, there's a huge variety out there, from super smooth racetracks to really rough roads. You can choose 23, a 25, a 28, a time trial tire, a sturdy tube or a latex tube for racing, different brands. You can make all these changes in minutes. And I also found out that in clincher tires, high-end clinchers particularly, you have a much broader range of options, because the new Michelins are awesome, the Vittorias are awesome, Continentals, S-Works stars, they're all really good. You can make different choices based on your preferences, whichever you like. Whereas in tubulars, if you want really the best quality, you're basically just stuck to Vittoria, which is not a bad thing, but still, if you want some options, then the clinchers can provide that. So far, the tubulars don't really fare too well, in my opinion, and I think that disc brakes will really be the last nail in the coffin, because then the safety issue from the brake heat just disappears, and the rims get lighter again, because there's no need for the brake track reinforcement and heat management. So yeah, that's going to be the next evolutionary step in my mind. Also, you've got tubeless as an option. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to test that, but I really want to in the future. But so far, clinchers versus tubulars, to sum it up completely, advantages of the clinchers: convenience, cheaper manufacture, the ability to tune your tire choice for racing and training. Then you also get, well, the tires themselves are cheaper, they're faster, more aerodynamic, same comfort, same grip in the corners, same ride quality. And one minor thing about tubulars, but to find a real advantage, I think we need to go to real rough terrain, cyclocross for example, or pave, Belgian cobbles and so on. In these scenarios, a tubular wheel is going to be much tougher against impact, because it has no real, beads are not just sticking out, it's just a more structurally sound unit, so it's going to be much harder to impact the tubular rim, although not impossible. And secondly, you can run, of course, lower tire pressures with tubulars, which is a good thing, but I really want to get into cyclocross this winter, and I've thought about this a lot, but I think the ability to make tire changes is still much better, because in cyclocross you're going to have a huge array, a vastly larger array of conditions than you encounter on the road. So I would really rather have one tubeless ready clincher wheel with a range of tires than one tire which is perfect for one condition, even though it's a bit grippier than the clincher one. I think in a lot of cases it's going to be a better option to just be able to switch my tires. Of course, if you're really serious about cyclocross, which I'm not yet at the moment, then you can have multiple tubular wheel sets with different tires on, but for me, wanting to just get into it, I think the clincher wheel is going to be a better option. Yeah, so far, these are my experiences in this regard. Clinchers versus tubulars. I think I've addressed all my points that I wanted to. If you want to know more about my bikes, my wheels, my opinions of them, I test a lot of stuff, then don't forget to tune into my channel and subscribe. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.